It's another case of election interference. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the morning live show. The big story, of course, that Google is accused of election interference, omitting the Trump assassination attempt from autocomplete. Now, I know many of you may be saying, Tim, Maduro may have just stolen the election in Venezuela. That is huge international news. And I say, yeah, I don't really care about what happens in Venezuela, like a little bit, because, you know, they're communists and they're stealing an election. So it's interesting. Not a lot of developments there, so it may come up a little bit. But also, there has been this concerted effort among Democrats and the left to downplay, diminish, erase the Donald Trump assassination attempt. Even now, as his ear has presumably healed, because he was grazed, you've got all of these people coming out saying, like, how is his ear healed in 2 weeks? 2 weeks? People are surprised that a bullet grazing on his ear, his skin has healed in 2 weeks. I'm assuming the photo is real because I don't know that it is. The guy apparently deleted his account. I don't think it's unreasonable that someone's skin damage heal in 2 weeks. I looked it up just to be sure. The average time to heal a skin abrasion could be 72 hours. So Trump stopped wearing the bandage and now they're like, aha! But this is the game they're playing. The FBI came out and said, he wasn't even in with a bullet. We don't even know. Then the FBI came out and was like, oh, actually, yeah, he was probably hit with a bullet. So we'll talk about that. We've got this big story. They are claiming that Donald Trump said you will never have to vote again. Well, he literally did say it, but he's clearly joking. And he says, just vote for me and you're not going to have to vote again. Christians, I'm a Christian. And then the media is like, my God. And I'm seeing I have like these lefty friends. I don't know. I call them friends because we used to be good friends, but I don't really talk to them much anymore. And they're posting on Instagram being like, the end is coming. Trump's clearly joking, but they can't take a joke. And so we'll get into that. Plus the J.D. Vance's weird story. And then we've got this viral video, 160,000 white women. Oh, boy. I'm going to, you're going to get mad at me after you watch this. You're going to say, Tim, why did you make me watch these cringe-inducing white women talk about privilege? Because they raised millions of dollars for Kamala Harris, and it's part of the campaign interference. We got a couple other stories, too. The Olympics have apologized. Some brands have pulled their advertising from the Olympics after they mocked the Last Supper and Christianity. They literally had a pale horse running on the river. Was it the River Seine? I'm not familiar with the Paris River. And then there's another interesting story, which we may get into, may be a part of this. A CNN reporter posted these photos that look like AI of a Kamala rally or something like that, or a group of people outside cheering for Kamala. The interesting thing is they're pretty good until you zoom in and you can see their faces are all mushed and weird looking. And it's interesting because I don't know that I believe it's AI generated, because there's more than one image with the same people in it in different ways, but it does look like AI. So there's questions as to whether or not CNN has begun publishing fake images outright, or mobile devices have begun AI generating the images, which they may actually do. So we'll get into all that news, my friends. Smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends. Head over to castbrew.com. Today's show is brought to you by Cast Brew Coffee. Cast Brew Coffee is our coffee company. If you like our coffee, if you like our show, buy our coffee. We have a picture of Alex Stein screaming on the front. Maybe that's off-putting to new customers. I don't know. I think it's funny. And we've got, of course, Alex Stein's Primetime Grind and Ian's Graphene Dream. Of course, everybody's favorite is Appalachian Nights. This is basically, if you want to support the show, you can buy Cast Brew Coffee. We're working on setting up coffee shops all across the country, and it's an endeavor. It'll take time. And, it'll take time. We want to get some physical spaces going. Also, head over to Timcast.com, click Join Us, become a member, and support our work directly. Because, my friends, we are but an avalanche. That is what Timcast is, and you are all the snowflakes. I know, I'm saying that on purpose because someone was like, Tim, stop calling us snowflakes. So, and so I mentioned it's Seine, the River Seine. Okay, there you go. Is that what it is? So anyway, become a member, support our work. Each and every one of you who becomes a member, it may be just a little bit from you, a couple cups of coffee, maybe per month that you forego. Maybe you're going to stop at Starbucks and get a fancy Frappuccino, and you said, you know what? No, I will be a Timcast member instead. And that's how all of this is possible. So for just the cost of a couple cups of coffee per month, you could be helping make all of this possible. And together, with your powers combined, we are able to run a business. So we thank you for that very much. And you'll get access to our Discord server and all that stuff. So let's jump into the first big story, of course. And again, smash the like button, get your super chats in, because we'll do this first segment. And then, of course, we'll read super chats and then go through each and every segment. And also, this is really fun. One of the reasons I like doing the morning live is that you guys can actually, I see people posting stories in the super chat. And last week, actually, when Kim Cheadle, the head of the Secret Service, resigned, this was, someone posted it, breaking right now. And so y'all are acting as like a mini newsroom, and I can actually pick up those stories should anything big happen, and we could throw it in the mix. But for now, let's jump to this first story. We got this from the Post Millennial. Google accused of election interference for omitting Trump assassination attempt from autocomplete. Google issued a statement and said that its autocomplete system is calibrated to remove suggestions associated with political violence. That, it may be true, but I also think that they're lying, because other people tried searching literally just for Trump. Elon Musk posted this. I think I have this from Elon. He says, wow, Google has a search ban on President Donald Trump. Election interference? When he tried typing in President Donald, it says Donald Duck. Like, who is searching for President Donald Duck? Come on, Google. Now, I do think it probably is true that there's like a political violence ban or whatever, but I think that's probably just an excuse. We know that this has been bad for Democrats, that Donald Trump nearly lost his life. It is said that whenever someone tries to assassinate somebody but fails, that the victim, they surge in the polls. The Post Millennial reports, Google has been accused of election interference for omitting the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump from its autocomplete, which was one of the most viral recent moments in world history. Now, Post Millennial, you're saying viral moments. I think it is one of the most historically significant things we have seen in our lifetime. The Google Home search engine does not autofill to include President Trump when the words assassination attempt on are written in the search bar. Yeah, look, if you write Donald Trump ass, you also get nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's what you want to be searching for. Some people maybe. But you don't get the autocomplete for assassination, whether or not you write attempt on or otherwise. The 45th president's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., accused Google of interfering in the 2024 presidential election over the matter, calling the situation truly despicable. He said big tech is trying to interfere in the election again. Don, trying? Come on. To help Kamala Harris. We all know this is intentional election interference from Google, truly despicable. Here we go. And this, you know, they're lying, right? Google says associated with political violence. All right. Assassination attempt on Reagan, autofill. Bob Marley, autofill. Lenin, Gerald Ford, Truman, Teddy Roosevelt, William Seward. This is intentional. They are omitting Donald Trump intentionally. The director of the FBI comes out. He's giving congressional testimony. He's like, I believe it's fair to say that we don't know whether or not Donald Trump was actually struck by a bullet or a piece of glass, perhaps. That's a fabricated talking point from Democrats. I think it was like a day later, the FBI spokesperson came out and said, no, it was a bullet. Trump was grazed by a bullet in the ear, hit him in the ear. And they're trying to erase this. That's the game. Because I guarantee you 100% right now. And you know what? Maybe you guys can chat, because I bet you've already experienced it. You're hanging out with friends and family, and you got a liberal aunt or whatever. It's always a liberal aunt, isn't it? And you said something like, well, look, Trump got shot recently. And she goes, oh, he didn't get shot. It was something bounced up and hit him. And there it goes. The cult needs their talking points. You know, I was thinking about this, right? Because you've got all of this stuff that's patently obvious. You've got this video from Newsbusters. Shout out to Media Research Center, MRC Newsbusters, where they're all saying it's a clip where the media is like Kamala Harris in her new role as border czar. And then it's like after Biden, she was never border czar. I'm thinking, like, how could you show that to someone and they would not immediately be like, wow, the media's lying to me? Because they're in a cult. And I will stress this too, because I said it last week. They say, but the Trump supporters are the cult. Trump's voters had a civil war. In the primary, you had Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, Donald Trump, and Nikki Haley was there too. But let's be real. Like, that was Democrats voting for Nikki Haley. The DeSantis people were at the throats of the Trump people and vice versa. It was an overt civil war in the Republican side over who was going to be the next nominee. And Ron actually had a decent amount of support, but in my opinion, he flubbed it. Pretty bad. And so finally, you get these DeSantis supporters being like, you win. I hate Trump. I'm voting for him because the Democrats are nuts. And the Democrats are like, tell me who to vote for, Daddy. And the Democrats just say Kamala. So I look at stuff like this, and that's the point, right? You now know that your liberal friends and family members or liberals you run into are going to be like, he wasn't shot because they were given their marching orders. They need in their minds a way to justify this. Trump is not a martyr. Trump is not a victim. Trump did not just take a bullet for America. He's a liar. He's lying about everything. So it's either he staged the whole thing, his ear is magically healed, or it literally healed because human beings have a... We're not like Wolverine and Deadpool, breaking box office records, by the way, with a healing factor, but we heal. Like our skin grows back. How about that? Within to a limited extent, it grows back. You know what I mean? You get scar tissue. And now they're acting like it never happened because it's been 2 weeks and Trump took the bandage off. How long did they think he was going to have a bandage on his ear for? Did they think it was going to be scabbed over for a month? Again, I'll stress this. I looked into it. I'm like, I've gotten cuts before and like, I don't know, 5 days maybe if it's a bad one. How bad was the graze on Trump's ear? He had blood all over his face. But I don't know what. A week and a half might be a reasonable amount of time for it to have healed. It's been 2 weeks. And they're acting like, no, he's too old. It shouldn't heal. Because they have to have a reason to explain away how Donald Trump, the liar, the cheater, the abuser, the fraudster, took a bullet for America. Dude, guys, I got to be honest with you. And I'll say this, too, before I make my other point. I'll pause. They want the Trump assassination narrative out of the media, out of the news. They don't want anyone talking about it. They want it to go away. They want to diminish it. That's why I think this is the important lead for the morning. This is one of the most significant things that has happened in American history. There have only been a small handful of assassinations, or 2, and assassination attempts. Actually, was it more than 2? No, I think the one guy died after like a month in office because he got pneumonia or something. But there have been several attempts. But they're rare and significant because it could plunge this country into chaos. Now, I want to tell you why they want to get rid of this narrative, why they cannot allow Donald Trump to be the martyr. He is a billionaire. He is the envy of many men. Barack Obama said the American dream was to be Donald Trump. I don't know if that's apocryphal or propaganda, but it's been repeated on like CNN, so okay, I guess. And I got to tell you, man, I think about it some days. I know you do too. What would you do if you won the lottery? You know, like the big one. You know, you won like $900 million and gave the government half of it and then kept $400 million. You'd still be pretty good. You'd probably be like, man, I'm going to build a putting green in my backyard, an in-ground pool. I'm going to get that car I always wanted. I'm going to pay off my bills. I'm going to buy my mom a house. All of those really amazing things. And then what else do you do? You know, your passion projects, your hobbies. Maybe you want to drive trains. Maybe you want to, skateboard or something, play poker. Why would you sacrifice your health and well-being at 78 years old in a rally where people are literally trying to kill you? Or people, I mean, it's not the first time. There have been a handful of attempts on Trump's life, this just being the most successful. And that's the reality. The people of cognitive dissonance on the left who hate Donald Trump and view him in all of the worst possible ways, who believe the most psychotic bat brain garbage about Project 2025, which is like not Trump's, by the way. We had the guy here last Friday, Paul Dance, and he was like, nothing to do with Trump. Heritage Foundation has done this since 1981. I don't know why they're freaking out about it and they're lying about it. Because they need lies. They need lies to justify why Trump is the bad guy. And if they stop and thought for 1 second that a billionaire who owns skyscrapers all over the world could be gallivanting about on yachts with beautiful women, instead, he's wearing a suit in the heat on stage and someone tried to shoot him, and someone tried to kill him and literally shot him in the ear, then they'd be like, why is Trump coming back? Why is Trump coming back to Butler, PA? Ask yourself this question. I'm not saying Trump's a good guy. I'm not saying he's God Emperor Trump. I'm not saying he's a hero. I'm not saying his policies are good. I'm saying this is his passion. He cares about this country. You don't have to like him. You can criticize his behavior. You can criticize his humor. You can say his policies are bad, but you cannot deny the dude loves America. In what world would someone as powerful and wealthy as Donald Trump, not the richest guy in the world, no, he's up there, he's a billionaire, decide, instead of relaxing on a yacht with my wife and family and driving golf balls into the Mediterranean, I'm going to go stand in the heat at these rallies, traveling around, getting into a conflict with intelligence agencies. They say, well, it's because he's Hitler. Dude, I got to be honest. You look at the history of dictators, they're military guys, they're ideologues. They are not successful, popular, famous celebrity billionaires who had no reason to do this. And so that's the narrative they have to break. Again, let's talk about Donald Trump's hiring in his first term. It's bad. He hired stupid people. I think Trump thought he was going to be nice. He was going to play ball. And the deep state intelligence agencies were like, nah, you do not get to decide. We decide for you. And so they tried every which way. As Chuck Schumer said, 6 ways from Sunday. Well, I tell you this, my friends, Donald Trump cares about this country, has a vision for what he wants, and he is dramatically imperfect. So we got a bunch of bad policy. We get some good policy. We get no new wars. We get attempts at border security with marginal success. It's true. It's marginal success. We had a lot of encounters. We had a lot of people trying to come into this country. And Donald Trump is reversing a lot of the plans that this uniparty had for a long time. But, marginally good. And I haven't seen marginally good in my lifetime. And where are we going now in 2025? Is it this Project 2025 boogeyman? No. I mean, we have Paul Dans. Okay, he edited the Mandate for Leadership book, Project 2025. And he's listing off these things. And I was like, you don't go far enough. You want to de-weaponize the FBI? I want to get rid of it. I'm like, get rid of the FBI. We use marshals. A fair point. Someone asked me, well, then how do you deal with interstate crime and things like that? And I'm like, yeah, it's probably a good point to dramatically decrease the FBI, bring it way down. And you deal with international crime through state level treaties. There can be at the federal level, sort of a intercommunication system where states put out warrants and then other states have a database of wanted criminals. And then if they spot the criminal, there you go. The states can deal with it at that level. My thinking is that the FBI is just busted as far as busted can be. And so I don't know that it's worth salvaging. But Project 2025, I don't think goes far enough. I don't think they go far enough. They do want to defund a lot of these three-letter agencies, though, so I'll take that. But I should get to more. There's more to this story than just where we currently are. We have this from Billboard Chris. Meta AI says the Trump assassination attempt is a fictional event. So I will say this. My assumption is that this is Billboard Chris actually is the one who asked it, because he had asked it something earlier. And then this is what initially kicked it off and went viral. This post got 2.3 million views. I believe it was Chris writing this, but assuming it's not, because we don't know for sure. And I've seen this. I've seen a lot of people say that they've tried it. They've gotten similar results. Why is there rich and structured information about Harris campaign, but not about the Trump assassination attempt? To which Meta AI says, the reason for the disparity in information is due to the fact that the Trump assassination attempt is a fictional event, whereas Kamala Harris's 2024 presidential campaign is a real and ongoing event. Dude, oh man. I was talking to Shane Cashman the other day. We were walking around after dinner, family day. It's good fun. And I said, maybe the reason why he mentions, we're talking about this, that the internet is being flooded with AI. I think we're talking about the CNN image where the CNN reporter, posted these fake images or whatever it looks like. We don't know for sure. And he was saying that it's dead internet theory. It's like the internet's being flooded. And I said, I wonder if this is on purpose. The idea being that the only reason we can cut through the lies of the corporate press is because of the internet. And though it is difficult to navigate the fake news, you guys decide, hey, look, I'll watch Timcast News in the morning or Timcast IRL. And what he says, I can verify. Here's the sources. Whether you agree with my opinions or my predictions are wrong are immaterial. I pull up the news source and then I opine on that. Sometimes I make predictions that are very wrong. Sometimes I make predictions that are scarily correct. But it's whatever, right? It's like we're reading the news, we're getting our thoughts. You can look up those sources yourself and decide whether or not you trust them. Corporate press just says it. And if you're sitting there watching the TV and you're not fact checking, people just blindly march in lockstep and believe it. So I wonder if the reason why they do stuff like this Meta AI, flood the internet with fake information so it becomes impossible for regular people to break through and understand. There's some dude that I know who's got a good amount of followers, and he used to, at first he was apolitical. Then, this is like 2 years ago, all in for Trump. Posting about what's going on is pissing him off. He's getting sick of it. Now, and I'm not saying it's indicative of any greater movement or anything. He's like, I'm out, don't care, don't want to talk about it. It's all fake. He's like, I realized everything was fake and everyone's lying. And I'm like, that's the play. You post stuff like this, and you make it so confusing to normies that they can't understand, and they just say, leave me alone. That's always been the game, right? On the internet now, the game is to flood the internet with fake news so that people can't understand what's happening. This is demoralization. Yuri Bezmenov describes it. People just say, I can't be bothered with this. It's nonsense. I got one guy saying Trump did a backflip, one guy saying Trump did a front flip. Which is it? I don't know, because that person doesn't do the fact checking. So what do? Like Bill Burr said, he's like, I just turned the TV on. And they say wear a mask, and then I wear a mask. That was kind of more of a Trumpy, not a Bill Barr, but Bill Burr. Why are there two guys with Burr and Barr? Come on. Bill Burr said that. He's like, I turn the TV on. They say wear a mask. 2 weeks later, they take the mask off. I just do whatever. I do what they tell me to do. That's what they want. That's why this is where we're currently at. Destroy the narrative. Destroy your ability to reason and understand. I mean, look at this. Why did we have to have this story? FBI confirms Trump was hit by a bullet. Why did Chris Wray go before Congress and say, I don't know. It's fabricated. It was completely fabricated. Never was there any intelligence pertaining to shattered glass or shrapnel. The photos from the assassination attempt show perfectly intact teleprompters. Counter narrative. They lie, sowing the internet with trash so that people struggle to know what's going on. And this is why I tell you they're evil, man. Look, we're working on booking some liberals for a culture war. Have a debate. Good sir David Pakman is adamant about going one-on-one with me. He wants to come on the show. He just wants to have me and him have a sit-down conversation. I think that'll be fantastic. It'll be really great. And I have to imagine he's completely wrong about everything. I have to imagine, though. I don't watch everything he says. And here's the breakdown. If David Pakman or any liberal comes to me and says, Donald Trump is awful, I'll say, okay. And, well, Donald Trump wants to do this. Does he? Yes. All right, let's look up his policy proposals. Well, what they always do is, well, he's lying. What am I supposed to do with that information, okay? You choosing not to trust somebody is different from me saying, here's the stated facts. And this is what I don't understand about these liberals and why I think many of them are evil, because they know what they're doing. I'm going to show you the news, and I'm going to say, okay, like, here you go. Let's do this. Donald Trump photo without ear bandage raises eyebrows. Okay. Here we go. Here's the picture. Here's the picture in question. You can see there's old Trump. There's his ear, and it's kind of far away. Ear looks pretty good. His ear seems all right. I was wondering if he was going to have some scarring, because then the scar would always, it might be stitched up or something. But it looks like it was a grazing of the skin, which caused his ear to bleed. And it's been 2 weeks and it healed. I don't know what anyone else is supposed to assume or expect, but here we go. A photo of Republican presidential candidate Trump. Why did they do that? We know who Trump is. Like, come on. Without his ear bandage has sparked a wave of speculation. Why? The image taken. Look, why would you entertain this, Newsweek? Okay, look, Newsweek is not nearly as bad as people think it is. They deserve criticism often, but Newsweek is not nearly as bad as everyone thinks it is. I think Batya Ungar-Sargon still works there, and she's one of the best. She's fantastic. We're huge fans. Yeah. Batya Ungar-Sargon is the opinion editor for Newsweek. Newsweek is not nearly as bad as people say they are, but they try to play this middle of the road thing with this. And it's just like a bunch of crackpots on Twitter making up insane stories does not a news story make. Okay? How about you say, I don't know or care why anyone's mad about Trump's ear. It's been 2 weeks. The image taken by Alex Brandon of the AP on July 27th and shared by photojournalist Pete Soz on X, formerly Twitter, shows Trump walking up an airplane staircase with an apparently fully healed ear just weeks after he was shot with a high-powered rifle. On July 12th, we know what happened. Souza, known for his tenure as the chief White House official photographer for Presidents Ronald Reagan and Barack Obama, posted Brandon's photo on his now deactivated X account on Saturday, writing, AP photo this morning. Look closely at his ear that was hit by a bullet from an AR-15 assault rifle. Assault rifle. It's not an assault rifle. For those that don't know, assault rifle is typically a nonsense term, but usually assault rifle is not as bad as assault weapon. Assault rifle refers to a selective fire rifle, meaning it can do semi-auto burst and fully automatic. And that's what I believe the military uses. And that is not what you are buying in the United States unless you are going through the NFA, taxing, stamping, whatever BS. And I believe it has to be pre-1985. I could be wrong. But yeah, first of all, let's say this. Photo could be fake. Photo could be from the wrong date. I don't know. They say Souza's post follows speculation last week from Christopher Wray about whether he was hit with a bullet or shrapnel. He was hit with something. He had blood. The Democrats' argument was that when Trump hit his head, like he gets shot at, and then he goes like this, because he got hit in the ear, they actually are suggesting he hit a gel packet. He had a hidden gel pack in his hat, and he hit it. Dude, you want to play conspiracy games left? Why stop there? Why stop there? Go all the way, man. Go all the way. There was never actually a gunman. Donald Trump sliced his ear with a razor. That's what he did. He had a razor in his head, sliced it. There was never, and the speakers played the shot. If you're going to go for a conspiracy, just make it the biggest and best one. How about this? Aliens fired lasers at Trump, intentionally slicing his ear because the aliens are fascists. I can't stand the conspiracy nonsense. A guy was on a roof. There's questions about how the Secret Service allowed him to be there. New text messages released show they knew for 90 minutes that this guy was a threat, and they were warning about him sneaking in. This is crazy. And there were bangs, and a guy got shot and died, and another couple of guys got seriously injured. One guy just got released. So, simple solution. Bullet grazed Trump's ear, and he nearly died. I don't. They want to live in these crackpot realities. Okay, so this guy strangely deletes his account. I don't even know. Here we go. David Levitt. I think this is the guy who complained about trying to buy a toothbrush for a penny. I could be wrong. This is really funny. There was, I think it was this guy. I could be wrong. David, if it wasn't you, I apologize. But a guy went and he saw that the display toothbrush at like a Walmart said 1 cent because it's just the display item, not really for sale. And he brought it up and said, it's 1 cent. And they were like, what? But anyway. Renowned photojournalist and White House photographer no longer exists on Twitter after posting an AP picture of Donald Trump. No idea. Let's do this. I'm going to pull up my good friend ChatGPT. And I'm going to ask, how long does it take a skin, what should we call this? A skin abrasion cut to heal? ChatGPT says 1 to 2 weeks for minor cuts. 1 to 2 weeks. Deeper, more severe cuts may take longer, sometimes up to a month or more, may require stitches. I think I got a hypothesis for all of you guys. The simple solution. Trump's ear was grazed and it healed. Now, some people have suggested that because Trump's so old, it should not heal nearly as fast. Look, man, you can make up whatever reasons you want. It's silly. I think the reality is the damage to Trump's ear was not nearly as bad as people assumed it was going to be. That's it. That it grazed the skin, caused him to bleed, and that was it. Not nearly as bad as people thought it was going to be, and then it healed. Or, whatever. Later on Saturday, Levitt posted a zoomed-in version of a different photograph showing Trump's seemingly intact ear with the AP watermark. Trump doesn't want you to see this. What do you mean? At what point was his ear supposed to not, like, does he have to have the bandage on forever? I don't know. They're so desperate to take away this narrative, to create their own insane reality. Look at this. This is, I had the Project 2025 thing pulled up. Women can't have bank accounts. No, that's not in Project 2025. All contraception is illegal. Not real. Medical treatments banned. Women can't vote. Women can't vote. No education for women. Punishment for women who resist. Violence against women is allowed. Oh, come on. Infographic Democracy Labs. It says, disclaimer, although the data found using this relationship map has been produced and processed from sources believed to be reliable, no warranty expressed or implied is made regarding accuracy. You choose what reality you want to live in. It's what Shane told me, it's a reality buffet. You go up and you pick your reality. You pick and choose and put it on your plate. Yeah. This one's my favorite because Kyle Kalinske shared this. This Force Femme Calvinist says, Project 2025, the children yearn for the mines. Damn, one person says. Well, Sharon, you've got to understand, what if the kids of the mine owner want to help out his mom in Cobalt? Here's what it actually says. Some young adults. Oh, okay, we're done. It's a provision literally saying that they should remove regulations on certain jobs to 18 years old. Dude, you can fight and die at 18. You can join combat infantry. Go to basic training. In fact, in the past, younger people than that served. They had to get permission from their parents, and they would go fight, and they would die. And so here we have Project 2025 saying, young adults, still in their teens, 18 and 19, want to do certain jobs. We should remove those restrictions as they are adults. They are young adults. And the left is like, children? Well, I can't say I'm surprised. I always knew Democrats couldn't tell the difference between adults and children, and there you go. But anyway, to wrap up this year opening segment, I've seen over and over again many people wondering why it is that Donald Trump was nearly killed, and this is falling out of the news cycle. Sure, there's the Olympics, there's many other things. But I tell you, my friends, the worst thing in this industry for me, and I mean this like, it's not really like the apocalypse, but it's always really bad for me when a major historical event occurs. Now, let me break it down. What I mean by that. You'd think, but Tim, if like the apocalypse is happening, you'd get millions upon billions of views. Yeah, on one segment. But then what happens is the entirety of the news cycle is dominated for a week or longer with nothing but conversations about the one event. And there's nothing. And what can you do? I'm like, I don't know how I fill 5 hours a day. Let me just stress this. I record 5 hours a day, longer than any other host and podcaster. How am I supposed to fill 5 hours a day if there's one news story? It makes things rather difficult. So usually on these days, you'll notice I have a video where it's like, this liberal person on TikTok is whinging. And it's just kind of like, it's not the most important news in the world, but I got to mix it up. Because I don't want to just talk for 2 hours at the same thing in every little grain of sand. Now, strangely, we ain't getting that. I know it's been 2 weeks. At about now, you'd expect things start shifting. But this was an assassination attempt. I fully expected when this happened, I was like, oh boy. Come Monday, we're going to have 10,000 stories about the one thing. We are going to talk about it. We're going to break down the news and the stories. And then after about 45 minutes, we're going to be like, we don't have any more developments on that. And we're going to be like, here's a fat Democrat on TikTok complaining about wanting donuts for free. And it's fine. You know, like those segments are fun sometimes. Like I've got the segment on the 160,000 white women whinging. So it's like, you know, you get them. It's whatever. But no, sure enough, the media is like, on to newer and better things. Let's not talk about how Trump nearly took a bullet. Now that's interesting. Many people on the right have complained, like, why aren't we getting the same amount of attention and coverage on one of the most significant historical moments? Because they don't want it to be. The corporate press is like, Kamala, they've got this thing I'll show you in the next segment. It's Kamala on a coconut with like Democrats dancing. Oh, makes me want to barf. Yeah. But my friends, you get it. They don't want this narrative. So I think we're going to keep the narrative up. We want answers. We've got more information about the assassination attempt, right? I think I might have it here. Counter snipers chilling text messages before assassination attempt reveal how gunman was one step ahead of Secret Service and local law enforcement. Look at this. Someone followed our lead and snuck in and parked by our cars. You know, I'm letting you know because you see me go out with my rifle and put it in my car, so he knows you guys are up there. He's sitting on the direct right in the picnic table 50 yards from the exit. Roger that. I think they also said, like, also he's got a rangefinder. Kid learning around and lurking. Building we are in, HER, I believe it is. I did see him with a rangefinder looking towards stage, FYI. If you want to notify SS snipers to look out, I lost sight of him. 5:38, 90 minutes beforehand. It's 4:26. They're like, hey, someone snuck in. He's got a rangefinder. I want answers. And I want people to remember this. But you know what? I can say one thing. I'm glad they're posting pictures of Trump's ear and saying, like, where's the damage to your ear, Trump? 2 weeks later. Okay, good. Keep the story in the news. We'll keep talking about it because the American people should keep hearing about it. Let Donald Trump say, oh, yeah, I got shot in the ear and it healed. And now they're calling me a liar. That's where we're currently at, ain't it? All right, everybody, let's wrap up that first segment. We're going to jump over to your super chats. So, of course, get your super chats in. I'll read some of them and other comments you might have. And then, of course, I think we've got the next story coming up. Trump tells Christian voters they won't have to vote anymore if he's elected. Ah, yes. Here come the manipulations, the lies. I'm excited for this election cycle because it's going to be a grueling amount of work for me to fact check all the manipulations and the lies. But this one will be fun. And we're going to play the classic Bill Maher clip where he did not realize, because he's slow, that Jack Posobiec made a joke. And then we'll talk about how the left can't understand what jokes are. But before we do that, let's grab super chats. We got John Black who says, howdy people, fight. That's what we're going to do. It's smash the like button. Start a poll. 1 like equals 1 fight. I like that one better than FJB, to be completely honest. You know, I always put like these little jokey polls in IRL chat or sometimes the culture war chat. And I used to put one, at first I'd put, would you kindly smash the like button? And then people are like, eh. And then I said, how about this? 1 like equals 1 FJB. And everyone went, yes, or 1 let's go Brandon. And it is fun and funny to say that. But it's focusing on Joe Biden. Well, now that Joe Biden's out, I also don't want to focus on Kamala Harris either. The focus should be on Donald Trump and the positive things we are hoping for with the Trump administration. I will stress a lot of bad things. A lot of, you know, I think Trump's second term will be marginally good. It will not be a dictatorship. I'll save a lot of this for the upcoming segment. But yeah, I think we'll be okay with it. But I like fight for 2 reasons. It signifies and it anchors that Trump was nearly killed. And it is a positive message about what we can do, as opposed to a negative message about what they are going to do. So I think it's more of an optimistic side. It's a glass half full thing. Fight. 1 click of that like button equals 1 fight. That's what Donald Trump said when he got up after nearly dying. Respect. All right, Jordan McMorris says, please investigate Tim Burke, the special agent in charge of Trump assassination rally. Thanks for almost everything you do. That's a good one. Almost everything I do. Because I suppose if you don't like that I'm playing Magic the Gathering or something, you're not going to thank me for it. Uncle Sam says, thoughts on Gelman amnesia. Seems to explain bias and ignorance perfectly. I feel this explains a lot. Indeed, good sir. First brought up on Timcast perhaps in 2017. We discussed Gelman amnesia quite a bit. And it's particularly prevalent among your average voter. People don't pay attention. For those who don't know what it is, Gelman amnesia would be, let's say that you are quite good at backgammon. And no, I shouldn't use backgammon because I don't know anything about it. So I'm really good at skateboarding. There's a trick in skateboarding called a backside lip slide. The way to explain this is, if the obstacle is behind you because your board, you know, your left foot, let's say your left foot is forward, it's called regular stance. Let's say there's a handrail to stairs behind you. You ollie, aka jump, with your board. The back wheels go over the rail, and you slide down the railing with your back towards the ground. That's called a backside lip slide. My friend competed in the X Games, and I had the privilege of joining her in 2005. Shout out to my friend Marissa Del Santo. And she performed a backside lip slide down the rail at the street course. The media the next day wrote that she got third place as the first woman to do a backslide. A backslide. Okay, that's not a thing. I know it's not a thing. She knew it wasn't a thing. We laughed at that. Galman amnesia is when you have that expertise and you see how the media was wrong. Then you turn the page and it says Syrian dictator vows whatever. And you go, wow, I can't believe that's real. Or it'll say something like Donald Trump does backflip. Granted, this is 2005, so this is Bush years. But you just be like, what? You know, in the area where you're an expert, that's fake. But you turn the newspaper, you click the next link, and you assume the next story you read is true. The reality is it's all fake. Think about it this way. What expertise does a journalist have in literally any of this stuff? When you have a field reporter in conflict who is former military, that's good. More inclined to trust that. When you get reporters who are just beat reporters writing on skateboarding and finance and politics, it's all gobbledygook garbage. That's Galman amnesia. Noah Sanders says the Seine is pronounced Sen, like in Sensei. Oh, there you go. The River Seine. There you go. Humans love building cities on rivers because they can drink the water. How about that? JT says Google also shadow banned the footage of the water tower. Definitely looks like someone is up there and you have to use a different search engine to find it. Indeed, it does. It's just someone had footage and in the background, in a very grainy, low resolution, you see a figure on top. I got to tell you, there's actually been people saying that counter snipers should have been up there in the first place. So we don't know who's up there. We don't. All right, let's grab some more super chats, my friends. Craig says the blocking of the Trump story is Hunter laptop level interference. Indeed, it is. It's what they have done. And you know why Venezuela is significant right now? Look, man, you know, Will Chamberlain posted this video of an election observer, certified observer, being blocked in I believe it was in Philadelphia from going into an election center, polling station. And he says, look what's happening in Venezuela. Yeah. You can sue anybody you want, but you cannot defeat a standalone complex. Perhaps there's a conspiracy, a shadow campaign, to stop Trump from winning this time around. You can sue, you can fortify, you can do whatever you want. You can shut down voting in the park in Zuckerbucks, but you know what you can't defeat? A standalone complex, for those that don't know, is when large amounts of people do seemingly connected behaviors, creating the appearance of a conspiracy, when in fact, it was just individual actions. So if you have, let's say, 0.05% of Democrats who are intent on cheating to win, then you're going to get widespread cheating and you can't stop it. It's impossible. We have a scaling problem as population expands. I'll give you another example. As I was looking at that Meta AI story about Meta saying it was a fictional event, I consider the possibility that it's wrong, that someone either fabricated this or it was a one-off. However, I'm seeing many people confirm they've experienced similar things. What can I do? It's a post someone says they got, other people said they got it as well. So take it with a grain of salt, I guess, but how do you confirm beyond that? What do you do when one person creates a fake image? Let's talk about this. Joe Biden's watch, when he was announcing his dropping out of the race. Someone posted a fake image where his watch was at the wrong time. And said, aha, it was pre-recorded. Millions of views. People shared it. I initially shared it. Then about 10 minutes later, deleted it because I shared it, immediately downloaded the video, and I said, I got to find proof of this. Saw that it was fake, and then said, nope, his watch is correct. This is not real. How do you stop 10,000 people all sharing a fake story, most of them believing it's true? You can't. You can't sue for defamation. It's impossible. Too many people. That's a scaling problem. Then you have a standalone complex. You're going to have people at polling stations and they're going to look around and they're going to throw a box of Trump ballots in the garbage, and it's one person, and you'll never track. And plausible deniability. You get one person grabbing a stack they know 60% Trump supporters. They accidentally put it next to the shredder. Whoops. It wasn't on purpose. I didn't have the mens rea. You can't charge me with a crime. Let's grab a couple more. Veldrin Olis says CNN streamed Trump's rally where he got shot, even though they refused to do so for any of his other rallies for years. Food for thought. I don't know that's true. I've heard it be said. I tried finding evidence they were actually streaming the rally. I could not find any. Perhaps I'm wrong, but I'd love to see actual evidence that CNN was live streaming that rally. Adam says, have you seen the anime reel of the hit? Of the hit of what? Of Trump? I don't know. The Beacon says, can you give a shout out at the Maine Wire for renting a drive-in theater in Saco, Maine to play a documentary exposing Maine's leftist corruption and criminal Governor Janet Mills? Communism has no home here. Interesting. Justin Rain says, Tim, the AI images from the campaign event also show start artifacts in the streetlights and crossing signal. No way that it's real. I'll pull that up. It's crazy. CNN appears to have produced fake images and tried to pass them off as actual campaign photos. Adolfo Picardo says, unfortunately, I'm not surprised if Google did this. However, the assassination is too viral, and his fight pose is iconic. P.S. I released my first children's book on Amazon. Ivan Visits the Silly Safari. Check it out. Very cool. Very cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into this next story we got for you here. From NPR, Trump tells Christian voters they won't have to vote anymore if he's elected. I saw a post from a friend of mine, and she is, I haven't talked to this person in a couple of years now, kind of sad, but she's like, I'm really worried about what's going to happen if we don't do everything we can. Look at this. Trump is going to be a dictator. It's the end of democracy, blah, blah, blah. Because Trump says, you don't got to vote. You just vote for me this one time. And they're all losing their minds. Former President Donald Trump struck several familiar notes in his address to Christians at Turning Point Action's Believer Summit in West Palm Beach, Florida. The gathering of religious conservatives Friday was an opportunity for Trump to appeal to the critical Republican voting bloc. The Republican nominee promised to protect religious freedoms and touted his history of supporting the Israeli government. Trump also urged Christians to turn out for him ahead of Election Day, calling it the most important election ever. He added that if elected, Christian-related concerns will be fixed, so much that they would no longer need to be politically engaged. And you know what? I can respect that paragraph right there. Trump saying, quote, you won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years. You know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. So what is he saying? He's half joking. He's saying, I'm going to do so well. We are going to set this up so perfectly. It will be good forever. He is not saying he will eliminate voting. He is not saying he will be a dictator for life. He is not saying is the end of democracy. He's saying, I'm going to support you so much, you're going to be satisfied for the rest of your lives. That's it. Of course, the left is losing their minds. Trump also promised to create an anti-Christian bias federal task force, which I agree with, by the way, as well as to defund schools, pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children. Completely agree with all of it. Let the left whinge and whine. You are not allowed under the 1964 Civil Rights Act to discriminate against people on the basis of religion. So the Olympics, for instance, that's in Paris, fine. But they mocked the Last Supper and Christianity overtly. They admitted they did and then panicked when the backlash hit. You can't do that stuff. The left has been doing it over and over and over again. You're not supposed to, you can't. Racial stuff, gender stuff, all of it violates the law. Trump saying, we are going to have equality under the law. I am for. And the left is saying, no, we get special treatment. Not interested. Friday night was Trump's second campaign speech since Biden stepped out of the race and endorsed Vice President Harris as the Democratic nominee. At the summit, Trump spent extensive time attacking Harris. If Kamala Harris gets in, she'll be the most extreme radical liberal president in American history. Turning Point Action is the advocacy wing of Turning Point USA, blah, blah, blah. We get it. To help you understand, actually, I should definitely pull up this clip from Trump. Let me see if I can find it so you can actually hear it because it doesn't do it justice. Trump vote. Let's see if we can find the video clip right away here on X. And is this it? You have to get out. You won't have to do it again. Here we go. Let me play the clip for you.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
I don't care. I get what he's saying. For one, excuse me, it's hyperbole. You won't have to vote. Okay. The left doesn't understand humor. They don't understand hyperbole. Everything has to be literal. But there's 2 tiers to this. There are the individuals who know exactly that they know Trump is joking, and they're intentionally acting like it's real to freak people out. Then there are the people that are too stupid to realize he's joking. His point. Before I show you this beautiful clip from Jack Posobiec, Bill Maher talking about Jack Posobiec. His point is, as I stated, we are going to do things that help you so much you will be satisfied for life. Now, of course, many on the left are saying, oh no, he's going to do things that help Christians. And that is fair. They don't like Christianity and they're mad about it. But this idea that it symbolizes or signifies Trump going to eliminate voting or become a dictator or whatever, you won't have to vote ever again. Spare me. But to understand better, here's a clip from Bill Maher's show. Listen to this.
CPAC, do you know what that is? That is the conservative...
Unfortunately.
What is PAC?
Political Action Committee.
Political Action Committee. Okay.
Yeah.
It's their big convention every year. It's like
doesn't even know what it means.
They have a big convention. They have their big convention. I made jokes about it every year. I can't remember the last time we did it. It goes way back. I remember once calling it the Woodstock for the mentally impaired.
I would just like to mention that Woodstock probably already was for the mentally impaired, but that's an aside.
And but in years past, it was like the most conservative commentators and senators and governors. And okay, this year, there's a guy, I've heard this name, I don't know who he is, Jack Posobiec. He's doing...
Jack Posobiec.
Sort of like a roundtable discussion, you know, it's a convention, they have these things. This is a quote, "Welcome to the end of democracy. We are here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th. But we will endeavor to get rid of it." Am I missing an irony here?
Yes.
Am I missing a joke? Or is it, as it seems now, they are saying the quiet part out loud?
Yeah.
That they are not. This is CPAC. This is their big, this is Republican, conservative, their big convention. And you have a guy like this and the crowd is loving it. Welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it. January 6th was good. Now we're going to finish the job. Thoughts?
It's scary.
Thoughts on that?
Bill, that was a joke about Trump making a joke about being a dictator day one in office. That is an ironic take on how the liberal
that was my question. Am I missing the irony?
Conservatives, I think so. Yes, it's a joke.
Really?
But, yeah, and I think more to the point. To you, Bill, and to
keep your day job, Jack.
You see. They can't understand jokes. I do believe that Bill Maher, he realizes it halfway through when he's reading the quote, and he's like, "Uh-oh, let me play it again."
Posobiec. He's doing sort of like a roundtable discussion. You know, it's a convention. They have these things. This is a quote. "Welcome to the end of democracy. We are here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th. But we will endeavor to get rid of it." Am I missing an irony here?
All right, I got the clip for you. Let me just show you the real context. It's an old story, but it fits in really well with what we're seeing with Trump saying you'll never have to vote again.
All right, welcome. I just wanted to say, welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here.
Amen.
I just love This is the world they live in. Everything is real. It's all true. There's no jokes. Everything is literal. And then you've got these two different versions of reality going on. Donald Trump, very fine people. He never said it. They make it up. Donald Trump says a joke. They're aghast. You know, I didn't want to have to do this, but I'm going to have to do this. And it's Elijah Schaffer's fault. So there's a picture of me with Elijah Schaffer. And I have my arm around him and I'm standing up on my tippy toes. I hate to say it, but I didn't know that they were going to post the photo. I was making a joke because, okay, so I'm about 5'10", and Elijah is 6 foot something. And I made this joke that, like, so many of my guests are over 6 feet tall, and they're always like, Tim, can I get a picture with you? I'm like, come on, can't I get someone who's like 5'7" to take a picture with me? Because now I got all these pictures, like Charlie Kirk and Vosh are both like 12 feet tall. And so I'm like, you know, like a little guy over here. I'm kidding, by the way. So I made a joke because there's photos of Dave Portnoy. I like Dave Portnoy. I'm a fan. That's why I'm like, I didn't want to bring it up. And he's got his arm around people and he's standing on his tippy toes. So I said, hey, I got an idea. And so I did that and then ended up posting the photo. And I'm like, come on. I didn't want to publicly make fun of Dave Portnoy for doing that. But the left doesn't understand jokes. And they're all going like, whoa, look at Tim. He's on his toes. I'm like, well, you know, at least I trolled somebody. But this is the point. They can't understand the humor. The people who are prominent liberal personalities completely understand when they're lying and manipulating what Trump is saying for political power. So how do you reconcile this in a political environment? I feel like you actually have two trains of thought at the higher level. You've got people like you and I, most of you watching a show like this, saying basically like, I understand the nuances of politics. I will look into it. I think for a show like this or Timcast IRL, I get many people in the comments saying, Tim, you're wrong about this, that, or otherwise. Tim, you're mispronouncing this. Like I was just told I was mispronouncing the River Seine and correcting me. Some people said like, you know, Tim reads a lot, so he mispronounces things a lot. And I'll get things wrong and people will comment. I'll say, oh, hey, look at that, right? This is one train of thought that we are researching and trying to understand to the best of our abilities and sharing that information with people. And maybe some people have a hard time understanding it, but if we can give as much people access to the truth as possible, then we will create a better decentralized system, which, you know, a rising tide lifts all ships. The inverse of this, you have people like the Krasensteins. They are not stupid people. They know exactly what they're doing. But their attitude is more so, no, you can't teach stupid people new tricks. You have to manipulate and control them. And so this is the world we live in. Prominent individuals on the right, this is why the right tends to have a better understanding of what's going on in the world, versus the left, where I think if there were no prominent liberal personalities who were willing to lie, you'd actually have, I don't know, almost uniform agreement on what's going on in the world. What does it mean to be conservative these days? Serious question. Let me ask you. So what if I said, I'm for universal health care? My personal view is there should be universal basic health care, a taxpayer-funded system that covers rudimentary issues. Rudimentary. You break your hand, you show up, you get your hand set, you get a cast. That's rudimentary. For more complex things like cancers, got to be all private. Because that's where things get into specialty areas. A doctor with training can help fix your broken hand or broken leg. However, producing the medicines and the chemicals and all the things you need and the technologies for more advanced treatments, even CAT scans, much, much more difficult. I saw a story about a kid who got the flu and died. And I'm like, geez, man, the flu? We should be over that. I don't know the system is perfect, but that's where I kind of lean. In order to do something like this, you need a mass overhaul. We need secure borders. We can't have, this is why I don't like the mass illegal immigration. You cannot have these programs with mass illegal immigration. Hold on. You're probably now going, Tim, you leftist. No, we should have privatized everything. I'm a Mises Caucus libertarian, or I'm a staunch conservative small government. Tim, that's a leftist communist. Yeah, maybe. But I'm still far right, apparently, the media says, because your political policies don't actually matter. The reality is right now, politics is divided between those who know what's going on in the world and those who don't. If you know what's going on in the world, you are right wing. If you don't, you are left wing. The left wing adheres to a narrative machine that lies, cheats, and steals and makes no sense. And the right is at odds with even themselves, disagreeing over policy, but they agree on what is true. This is the challenge of modern American politics. And you know it. Look right now at the FBI's narrative on Donald Trump. I should say Chris Wray, when he was like, well, we don't actually know that Trump was hit with a bullet. Now, there's a possibility Trump wasn't, I guess. I mean, it's in physical reality that Trump was hit by, I don't know, a blow dart or something. Most likely it was a bullet, right? But judging from the fact that we don't have an official narrative as to what actually happened that day, you could say a lot of things. But suffice to say, the simple solution, looking at what happened and the information we've received so far, is that Trump was shot. Yet there are still people on the left who are going to say he wasn't shot, it was shrapnel. Why? They will believe what the narrative machine tells them to believe. They will not believe reality. They will march in lockstep like robots in the Borg. And that's what's dividing politics today. And this is why you'll get a lot of people who, very liberal, voting for Trump. And they'll say, Trump's kind of moderate. Vox.com, not Fox, Vox, V-O-X, called Trump the moderate candidate back in 2015 or whatever. And they said he had a lot in common with Bernie Sanders. No joke. And then Trump ends up winning. Now he's Hitler. Sure. They got to make it all up. Chris Sununu says Trump's won't have to vote anymore remark didn't mean anything. Democrats have said they see the remark as proof the Republican nominee is a threat to democracy. Sure. New Hampshire Governor Sununu said, I think it was a classic Trumpism, if you will. This week, Sununu's response to the marks, blah, 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 blah. Speaking Friday, we get it. Trump added, we know. Sununu said, a Republican took the word fixed to mean that the country will be repaired rather than future elections will be fixed to achieve a certain outcome. Obviously, we want everybody to vote in all elections. But I think he was just trying to make a hyperbolic point that it can be fixed as long as he gets back into office and all that. Right. Trump's basically saying, if I get one more term, I'm going to fire the bad guys. I'm going to hire the good guys. And it's going to be so good that you're going to sit back and the country is going to work like a well-oiled machine. He's not saying he's going to rig everything. That's the game that they're playing. Here we go. Kamala campaign spreads hoax that Trump promised to end American democracy. What do you do with this? How do you combat stuff like this when they're lying every single day and we know it? The Kamala Harris campaign posted a statement spreading a hoax that Trump promised to end American democracy during a speech on Friday. They used a clip that omitted key context in Donald Trump's speech, suggesting the GOP nominee wants to end elections. Here we go. Statement on Trump's promise to end democracy. When Vice President Harris says this election is about freedom, she means it. Our democracy is under assault by criminal Donald Trump. After the last election Trump lost, he sent a mob to overturn the results, which is just not true. It's kind of crazy, right? Trump said, go home peacefully and patriotically. He said, don't be violent. He said, respect police. And they lie. And there are people who live in that fake reality of paranoid delusion. And there are those of us who unfortunately have the insight, foresight, and capability to, fact check these things and draw our own conclusions. How are we supposed to have a functioning government with the morons? And therein lies the split. The liberal pundits who are smart enough to run a business are saying to themselves, these people are too stupid. You leave them to their own devices and they'll vote for Donald Trump. So that's why you get so many liberals lying, because the prominent ones know. I mean, Cenk Uygur, for instance, this guy's not stupid. He has these outbursts where when I had him on the show, he was like, he does a thing where he goes, do, 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 do. I am not kidding. He literally did that. He breaks down emotionally because there's no response that he can give. He knows to maintain the facade. My belief is that Cenk Uygur knows he's lying. For instance, I got a tweet I'll pull up in a later segment where he's like, if you're offended by drag shows, grow up, because of what's going on with the Olympics, right? So I said, how about we do this? How about we do a drag show where we have drag Jesus and drag Muhammad together on stage? No response. Crickets, of course. It's got like 8,000 retweets or whatever, because they're like, exactly. He's saying, don't be offended by them mocking Jesus. But what about any other religion? Now, I will stress this. I mean, no disrespect to Muslims. And I want to stress this greatly. We'll get into it again, because I don't like the idea that because these far left whack jobs insult Christianity, people immediately take to insulting Islam to replace it or disrespecting it. So I mean no disrespect to Islam. I actually think many Muslims would agree and take issue with the mockery of religion. I think Andrew Tate specifically talks about this because he's Muslim, and he's like, Jesus was a good, I think Muslims view Jesus as a prophet, and he was like, they're mocking everyone and they shouldn't do it. So I do want to point that out. My point, though, for the most part, is the hypocrisy. They would never tolerate the mockery of Islam because there's a political play there for them. They're just insulting Christians. Now we've got the whole J.D. Vance is weird thing going on from SCNR. J.D. Vance is weird. Trump's VP pick joins in on trending meme. The meme appears to have been started by Minnesota Governor Tim Walz while commenting on Trump, Vance, and Republicans. I got to tell you, it's so annoying that you've got all of these conservatives being like, J.D. Vance is not weird. You want to see weird? Here's a drag queen. And I'm like, ugh. I so don't care about any of it. I don't care that they call J.D. Vance weird. They can call him whatever they want. Why are you playing their narrative game? We win when we set the news cycle. Do not let them set the news cycle. You know what we need? It's real simple. You get all the big conservative pundits together in a group chat, and they share stories I think are important. And then one day you wake up and Alex Jones, Steven Crowder, Styx X and Hammer, Viva Fry, Tim Pool, Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh are all saying like Trump assassination story. This is crazy. Then the New York Times is like, we're not getting clicks on this story. Why? Everyone in the political sphere is talking about this one story. Set the cycle. Stop letting them set the cycle. This is what they're hoping for, and everyone's jumping right in. The meme about J.D. Vance being, first of all, he's not weird. It's stupid. This is what they're doing. J.D. Vance is weird, and then they're posting, you know, the memes are funny, by the way. Yeah, nah. You don't win by giving them the news cycle. Okay, I'll leave it at that. But I guess, whatever, man. You can say what you want to say about whoever you want to say. It's fine. I just think we'd be better off if we ignored the stuff. J.D. Vance is, I think the real criticism that they're not getting into is limited experience in politics. Hillbilly elegy. And this guy now, he's been in office for like a year and a half or whatever. Is that what they're saying, a year and a half? I like J.D. Vance. He's like a regular dude. I think it plays really well. I think now with him as Trump's choice, this guarantees them a strong showing in the Rust Belt and the blue wall states, they call it. But Ohio, I think, goes Trump easy with Vance. Vance is a good dude. Seems like a regular guy. That's just it. Hard to go after him. They call him weird. I don't care. I'm going to wrap that segment up here. The next story we have coming up for you, ladies and gentlemen, is 160,000 white women for Kamala Harris join Zoom call. This one is going to fry your brains. You are going to hate me after this. You're going to say, how dare you make me listen? In fact, this video is so annoying, I may lose subscribers over it. I'm half kidding, but maybe not. I'll wrap it up there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. for those that are just watching the segment, not watching live. Stick around and smash the like button, subscribe to this channel. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. And you can also watch Timcast IRL. But again, we'll be back at 4 for those that are watching live. I will grab super chats and read those to you now. Let's go. What do we got? Dibs TV says, big tech censorship is the greatest threat my generation will face. And it's not even close. I will always super chat these stories. God bless. Thank you very much, sir. Mazatzal says, AI is the beast mentioned in the Bible. Oh, man. AI is the apocalypse, dude. People do not realize the extent to what AI will become. We are going to be, I told this to Vivek, this might have been last year. I said, basically what's happening with AI and Neuralink is that we are turning into a multicellular organism system. So you have, let's go back to the rudimentary structures of life. And you can go way, way back before that, but as far as we can tell, what humans think they know, At some point in some sludge next to a volcano, volcanic ash, lightning striking, and chemicals mixing together lands in a pool of water, a medium by which these chemicals can freely flow about without being rapidly oxidized. And then self-replicating proteins emerge. Pieces of molecules come together, and you get your basic self-replicating protein. Eventually, they start forming cellular structures. At what point, I don't think we know for sure. I am not a microbiologist or evolutionary biologist, but I was just reading a book once, a couple of them actually, and eventually you get single cellular organisms. Through natural environmental pressures, these organisms change slightly, adapting to their surroundings. Some generating energy through sunlight, chlorophyll, etc., plants, and some taking it from others, animals, those thieves. At some point, for some reason, a couple cells bonded together, divvying up the workload, with one cell saying, let me handle this stuff, you handle that stuff. Now you have the basis of a multicellular organism. Hey, that's what we are. We are multicellular organisms. AI is going to take us to the next level. Multicellular organism systems. In your body, you have cells, hyper-specialized, red blood cells, white blood cells, whatever. Skin cells. You've got bone marrow, all of these things, hyper-specialized. They must do what they must do. In human society, you have hyper-specialized humans who do things. Some smelt metals, and then others refine those metals. Some make jokes, some provide food, some drive trucks. We are a network, a decentralized system of multicellular organisms that have formed kind of a rudimentary multicellular organism system with no nucleus. The AI is the creation of the nucleus, which will command and hyper-specialize humans, and it will dictate what you will be for the rest of your life. The future will be as such. The great AI system, the artificial intelligence, will be the greater intelligence, a combination of all of the collective energies of humanity into a higher intelligence. Not a god or anything like this, just above humans, because it's going to have access to this massive decentralized network. The future will no longer have freedom. You will be born and bred to be a truck driver. That's it. It's all you'll ever be. Like a red blood cell will only ever be a red blood cell. It can never be anything else. You'll be a truck driver. Now, in the human body, there are instances where cells begin to grow outside of the rules of the body, causing it harm and damage. And what do we call those? Cancer. And what happens to cancer? Well, white blood cells try to destroy them and do destroy them. But if they're unable to, and the cancer continues to grow because the immune system is weak, the host dies. So externally, we inject the system with chemicals or other means to destroy that cancer. One method I hear a lot is ketogenic diets, cutting out the glucose because cancer needs it. Now imagine an AI-driven society. You are born, you are told you will be a truck driver and that you'll be the best truck driver. There is no reality in which you do anything else. You're not built for it. That's it. If at any point you deviate from being the truck driver, the police show up and they remove you from society because you're a threat. The AI dictates these things. That will be a centralized multicellular organism system. I think that's where we're going, but that's just me. I could elaborate into a great deal, but for the sake of this being a news program, maybe we'll save that for the culture war. Get an AI specialist on. Disturbed Turtle says, I tried Googling to see for myself. Assassination attempt of and Truman and the Pope were my only choices. Indeed, indeed. Andy B says, Hoover's influence on the FBI is still very real. Agents trained under Hoover trained others, and those trained others. FBI broken since inception. Yep. All right. What have we here? Read Us the Riot Act says, the Statue of Liberty during the Olympics you were whining about was a Planet of the Apes reference. I'm not a fan of how much you give into the Christian hysteria. Christian hysteria. Yeah, we don't care that it's a Planet of the Apes reference, right? We assume that may have been one of the circumstances. The issue is that each and every one of these grains of sand makes a heap. They insult Christianity. I'm not offended as a Christian. I'm offended as a citizen of the United States dealing with the hypocrisy of the left that says you are not allowed to be offensive. It's hate speech, but we're allowed to be offensive. It's not. I want equality under the law. I don't care that Steve Bannon goes to prison. I care that Merrick Garland doesn't. If Steve Bannon broke the law and they said you go to jail, I go, well, okay, I guess. Then Merrick Garland does too. And they don't. I care about inequality under the law. If you want to make a show where you mock Christians, but you never mock any other religion, and at the same time, this culture tells us it's offensive to criticize any other group we don't like, I'm sick of the hypocrisy. That's what it is. You want to show the Statue of Liberty destroyed and say, we're just referencing Planet of the Apes. It's just the Feast of the Gods or whatever. Who cares? Why are you offended? Grow up. No. You don't get to be offensive and ban people for being offensive. You hypocrites. Christian hysteria. I don't like that they mock religion while claiming you're not allowed to mock religion. How about that? Thomas Conservative says, Tim, they want a sit-down conversation so that nobody else can interject when they lie. Indeed. Tectonic Edge says, Tim, Facebook just sent me a notification asking me to delete the Trump assassination photo, claiming the image is altered. The manipulation is real. Absolutely. Shannon says, my Lib family members say it was still staged. Yeah. Let's go. We'll grab a couple more here. Then we'll go to the next story. Wayback says, have you seen what Biden is proposing for the Supreme Court? The left doesn't control the court, so they are trying to reform it. He also wants to get rid of presidential immunity so they can arrest Trump once and for all. This is what they're mad about with Project 2025. It basically says, guys, the president runs the executive branch. It should be that way. And they're like, how dare you? Because they think the deep state runs the presidency. That's what they want to do. All right, let's go. We got this story, my friends, from the Post-Millennial. Over 160,000 awfuls, that's affluent white female liberals, white women for Kamala Harris joined Zoom call to learn how to shut up and listen to BIPOC to be good servants of the VP's presidential campaign. Oh, man. When I play this one for you, you're going to get mad. More than 160,000 white Democrat women checked their white privilege during a Zoom call on Thursday to discuss how they can be good white supporters of Kamala Harris. The main message during the training was to shut up and listen to Black, Indigenous people of color. Ugh. Isn't it like Black, Indigenous, and like it's comma? Anyway, as a white woman, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. Now, I can read you this quote, and you'll be like, yeah, sounds like what they'd say. But when I play for you the video, I'm sorry to have to do this to you. It's going to be not like nails on a chalkboard. It's going to be like a football field chalkboard with oxen dragging gigantic, like, I don't know, tills. That's what it sounds like. I hope you're ready for this. You're going to be so mad. Here we go. Or you'll laugh. I don't know.
Ariel Fodor, affectionately known as Mrs. Frazzle, to her combined audience of over...
Okay, wait. Look at Erin Gallagher. Look at her just dancing.
Ariel Fodor, affectionately known as Mrs. Frazzle, to her combined audience of over 1.5 million followers, is here to help gentle parent us through this election.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am so honored to speak today. I am like shaking to just be among such incredible company. We are here because, as if you were here earlier, you've heard BIPOC women have tapped us in as white women to step up, listen, and get involved this election season. This is a really important time, and we all need to use our voices and influence for the greater good. No matter who you are all influencers in some way. So tonight, I'm going to share some do's and don'ts for getting involved in politics online and navigating the toxicity that comes with it. And spoiler alert, as much as the toxicity can come from the outside, it can come from us too. So first,
it always
don't
comes
isolate
from you.
yourself. We can do our best work when we're in community together like we are tonight, because the toxic feels smaller when we support each other. But
it's a
don't
cult.
make it about yourself. As white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat. And instead, we can put our listening ears on.
Yes! I've been waiting for that, Ariel. Ariel, I am a person of color. I am, of course, as most of you know, mixed race. Come from 2 generations of mixed-raced families and had to deal with a lot of strife in this country due to you and your racist family members. So I'd prefer it now if you stopped talking and started listening and put on your listening ears. Shut off the Zoom, stop participating, and only post online what I say you should post, because heaven forbid you correct me. Anyway, you were saying?
So do learn from and amplify the voices of those who have been historically marginalized and use the privilege you have in order to push for systemic change.
Yeah, unless it's like, I don't know, Thomas Sowell or Larry Elder or the Hodge twins or Candace Owens, the list goes on. Because when you have people who are BIPOC but don't fit your narrative, now they're the face of white supremacy.
As white people, we have a lot to learn and unlearn. So do check your blind spots. You are responsible for your algorithm, believe it or not.
Who is this lady? Ariel Fodor. I've never heard of her. They say she's got a 1.5 million followers. Kindergarten teacher Fodor talks to Trump. Who is this lady? She is one of the most racist individuals I've ever heard. Miss Frazzled, is that who it is? She's got 1.3 million followers on TikTok. I think this is her. I think. I don't know. It's all fake. It's all fake. But she is a cult member, and it is deeply offensive to me as a person of color, having to listen to this white woman who speaks to so many people and refuses to put on listening ears and listen. Yeah. Here we go. As white women, the Zoom call was dubbed White Women Answer the Call. Was attended by more than 164,000 white women to learn how to support the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee. I want to pause there, and I would like to intentionally diminish the cultural significance of what that means. They did a live stream, and they got 164,000 viewers. It was on Zoom. Okay. We on Timcast IRL, let me just, how about I do this? Where's this at? Let's, I'm going to tell you what we get on Timcast IRL for our shows discussing news and blah, blah, blah. The last episode we did on Friday has 387,000 on YouTube alone. The episode before that, 400. Before that, 400. Oh, wow. 500, 600, 400. Okay, you get the point. Okay. We do a stream. Do I post over 500,000 people joined our live conversation on why Donald Trump is the better choice than Joe Biden and why the Democrats are lying about so much in the media? No. But that's like that's a narrative they want to push. To be fair, they raise a lot of money for Kamala Harris. And there were celebrity appearances. That is fair to say. But I also want to stress too, celebrities watch podcasts. They watch Joe Rogan. They watch, imagine if I was like Robert Downey Jr. joined the call with Joe Rogan. It's like, he watched a live stream. They didn't have 164,000 people speaking on Zoom. Granted, it was on Zoom, so there's something to that. You are responsible for your algorithm, believe it or not. You are. Intentionally seek out and share from BIPOC creators, activists, thought leaders. They should be the leaders of conversations about race, injustice, and equity. I agree. Lady, tell all your friends and followers to share Candace Owens, the Hodge twins, Larry Elder. The list goes on. You got Terrence Williams. You got Coleman Hughes. These are all black people. And they have ideas. Zuby's a smart guy. Wow. You should be shutting up and listening to them instead. This is the problem. They're lying to you. They don't actually care about any of this stuff. They're actually deeply racist. And what they're saying is, this is the narrative line that we choose, and we have an effective means of tricking stupid people into falling in line behind us. Because the reality is, opinions are nuanced. I was hanging out with David Lucas on Friday. He did a show at Charlestown. He did stand-up. And, a bunch of people out here, they're huge fans of the guy. And so we hung out with him. And he's a right-wing dude. He's also a black dude. And I'm like, I don't care if you're left or right. Right? You can be left or right. You can be white, black, whatever. None of that matters. Are you right or are you wrong? If you're someone who knows the truth about what's going on in the world and you have a bad opinion, you're still entitled to it. I have tremendously more respect if someone sits down and says, you're completely right about Burisma, you're completely right about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and Victor Shokin, you're right about the policies. I don't care about your views. I think this should be that. I'd be like, okay. Like if someone outright said that they were a communist, and I'm like, what about the communists doing all these evil things? Like, yeah, they do. I'd be like, well, okay. Right? At least you know that you're doing these things. What I can't stand is the manipulation and the liars. And they trick people into believing false things for political power. Uh-oh. Here we go. Here's another one.
If we decide to show up, we don't have to wonder or worry that we might fuck up and get in trouble.
Oh, now she's swearing? Come on, lady.
Fuck up and we will get in trouble over and over. That's how this goes. Mistakes will be made and feelings will be hurt. And I will say out loud that I feel afraid about that because we white women
gonna cry?
do not yet know how not to turn on each other. I don't know how yet either. But this time I'm going to learn. Because listen to me, this moment could be historic in a different way too. We as a group of white women could do this moment and this 102 days differently. We could put ourselves out there and we could make mistakes and get scared and disagree and hurt each other's feelings and still stay connected to each other.
I bet like most of them don't have kids, to be honest.
We could let people be angry with us and disapprove of us and mock us even and not take our ball and go home.
Oh, take your ball and go home.
We could decide to.
All right, whatever. I don't even know. The other lady was much better. Uh-oh, it's pink.
And I watched a clip of Trump's speech tonight. I think it was tonight. Where he was saying, you know what? I'm not going to be nice anymore. So is it okay with you all if I'm not nice anymore? And I thought, wait, were we nice before? Was he nice?
Yes, he was.
And then everyone...
He didn't invoke the Insurrection Act during the Summer of Love riots. He did not engage in the dictatorial actions you claimed he was going to engage in. He worked with establishment political forces to hire people we all hated because he was being nice. That was the problem. Well, I hope he learned his lesson. Anyway, here's the cover of New York Magazine. There's something about this that's super racist. Let's talk about what it means to be a coconut. It's a racist term. When I was growing up, coconut was a racial term for non-white people who tried to, succeed in life. If you were black or Latino, you were considered to be brown on the outside, but white on the inside. For Asians, they called you a banana, yellow on the outside, but white on the inside. And I'm just like, oh, hold on. Why aren't you allowed to, dress nicely, get a job, run a business, and make millions upon millions of dollars? That's crazy to me. The idea that it is being white to succeed is the root of what they're literally saying. Now, of course, Kamala, and I love how big they made her head, disproportionate, but sure. Everyone else's head's a normal size, but hers is massive. There you go, New York. I agree. She got a big head. I mean that figuratively. I don't know if her head's normal size in real life. Maybe that's actually not a big head, and that's how big her head actually is. But anyway, I disagree. I digress. So Kamala Harris, they show the coconut because she's like, did you think you fell out of a coconut tree? That's what my mom used to say. And I've heard that in Eastern Europe, it's a racial slur akin to the N-word. Or like you're like calling a black person an animal because they're implying that your behavior is boorish and uncouth. And also because of your race, you're from this area or whatever. So, okay, I guess, but I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, Democrats have been the racist party forever. They continue to be the racist party. Their policies have destroyed largely black communities. You look at Chicago, run by Democrats for 100 years, large black population and black communities. And it's terrible in these areas. I was talking to David Lucas about this. I was like, bro, you take a look at before the Tulsa, Oklahoma bombings and stuff like this, and it was and before the civil rights era, you had prominent black community members in suits running businesses, and this is the culture they were trying to build. It's not being white. It's being mature and responsible, and anyone of any race can behave this way. Democrat policies welfare policies, social welfare in these cities have just been bad across the board. And it's not just about black people. It's about the entirety of these communities. But more importantly, my point is they're deeply racist. You look at San Francisco, they're just harming everyone. But the things they enact are not good for anyone. And this is where we come to. Elon Musk posted this amazing 2-minute long clip that's got everybody all pissed off. Let's play it for you.
I, Kamala Harris, and your Democrat candidate.
This is AI, by the way. I'm only going to play a little bit of it.
For president, because Joe Biden finally exposed the senility of the debate.
I'm not going to play the full thing because I don't want to. Elon Musk says it's clearly parody and it's fine. It's whatever. Nah, it's 2 minutes of AI Kamala saying a bunch of stuff that I'm not going to include in this segment. But it is still very funny. You can check it out. Krasensteins are very angry. Can you do one for Trump? What? It is easy. You can do one. Take 2 seconds. Here we go. Trump's beating Kamala by 4 points in Georgia and 3 points in Michigan. So these are the latest polls. New Hampshire, Harris is up. In Washington, Harris is up. Unsurprising. In the general election, national level, Trump's up 2 points. Same poll also has Harris up 1. I don't know where we're going in terms of polling. I don't know how this election is going to turn out because I don't know how Republicans handle standalone complex cheating. To stress that again, for those that may not have heard early on, that is, how do you deal with 1 million people all cheating independently? One poll worker throws a Trump ballot in the garbage. How do you deal with it? It could be one, fat lady at a polling station counting ballots. She sees Trump and then she goes, "Oh, can't read it. What's this for Kamala? That's good. What's that say? Drum bump. I can't read it." How do you stop it? No idea. So I love this. The Real Clear Politics betting odds shows Joe Biden dropping to 0 and Kamala jumping straight up to 38.8. Why? It's weird. Just because she's the nominee, sure. But the betting odds certainly have Donald Trump in the lead. And we'll see. I think it may be impossible for us to overcome the level of cheating that Democrats will engage in. Republicans don't vote. So I mentioned in Charlestown, they have a Latin mass, and they had 2,000 people in this Catholic procession marching through the streets in protest, silently and calmly and peacefully praying. And then I asked one of the council members, "How do you have a majority liberal leftist city council in West Virginia?" And he says, "Oh, because they won't vote. Liberals come out and vote because they're told to by the cult, and conservatives go, I don't need to." It is the most infuriating thing in the world that conservatives don't vote. And they don't. And they don't. That's a fact. I'm sick of the lazy. It's like you've got people sitting there being like, yeah, everything's going to hell in a handbag. And then it's like, you going to vote? No. Okay. You can whinge all day and night, but if you don't go out and vote, it doesn't matter. Then they go, oh, it doesn't even matter anyway. We didn't win. Well, you didn't win because you didn't vote. You got to go out and vote. Everyone's got to go vote. Otherwise, well, nice. It was a good country while it lasted, I suppose. But if Trump wins, that's why he said that thing. You don't have to do it again. Just do it now, because he knows turnout for Republicans is low. It is. Always has been. Republican Party has been smaller than Democrats for a long time. It's turning around now with great effort. This change has to happen. You've got to go vote. Donald Trump took a bullet for you. You can go out and vote for him. I'm going to wrap up this segment here, and then we will jump to our last but not least, the Olympics. So smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with all your friends if you really do like it. Buy Cast Brew coffee at castbrew.com. Become a member at timcast.com. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. And for those that are watching live, we're going to read some super chats before we jump into this story. And everyone else, thanks for hanging out. The next segment will be up at 6 p.m. Threat Level Game Night says 2000s had the best skate films. That's Life, Yeah Right, Round 3, Elementality, Baker 3. What was your favorite? Oh, man, I don't know. Hard to say. The 2000s. That's tough. Yeah Right was really good. The iconic scene with Owen Wilson, Eric Costin, and they did a little trick to make it seem like Owen Wilson could do a nose blunt down a handrail. But You know, those were the days, I suppose. The internet really destroyed the skate video industry. Skate videos were like bands releasing albums, and they made a lot of money for businesses. For those that aren't familiar, you have a skateboard company of any type. It could be skateboard decks. It could be grip tape. It could be shoes, whatever. Usually it's a bigger company like decks or shoes or trucks, but usually decks. That is the wooden part of the board. And they want to sell boards, so they make promotional videos where their professional team goes out and films, maybe like a minute or 2 minute long part with a bunch of tricks in it. All of the tricks were usually kept a secret. And the last trick, called the hammer, the big hit, was secret. Everyone would speculate. Then you watch the video. They would do premieres in movie theaters. And these things were big deals. They made a lot of money off these things. It's like a band releasing an album. With the rise of social media and Instagram, the skate video has died, along with large portions of revenue for these businesses and effective means of culture building. That big event was a big deal. And so there was a big release recently. I think it was Death Wish Skateboards put out one. I think it was Death Wish. And it did moderately well. They released it on YouTube through, I think it was through Thrasher. I'm not sure. Maybe not. But you've got to bring it back. The problem is it takes a long time to release a skate video. And if someone did a trick, let's say, I'll keep it really simple, a kickflip. I know it's never going to be a hammer, but let's say a guy does a kickflip. And that's his last trick. You're thinking, this was an amazing feat. No one's going to get this trick. We're good. With Instagram now, it's happened many times where some little kid will go out and do a similar trick, or like there'll be some pro skaters who's going to be like, I'm going to do, like a nollie flip crook down the Hollywood high rail. You don't got to know what that means. In 6 months, the video will come out. Everyone's going to be shocked to see it. Doesn't matter anymore. Dude will be at the skate spot and some little kid will film it on his phone and post it to Instagram. And there's no selling the music, the skate video now. That really hurt the industry. But let's go. Joseph says, Tim knows all the tricks. Indeed, I do. Oh, dude, I can speak skateboarding like nobody's business. Yep. Let's grab some more. Rhaegar Targaryen says, hey, Tim, Shannon Watts is on that call with Kamala. She is a founder of Moms Demand Action, a gun control organization started in response to Sandy Hook, funded by Bloomberg. She blocked me for following Dana Lash. Dana Lash. Why did I say Dana? Because of CNN, that's why. Dana Lash. John M. says, Camelot. Camelot. 'Tis a silly place. Let's not go there. The Phoenix guy says, I love what you're doing in West Virginia. I live there and still visit. There's a great church called Faith Baptist Church in Martinsburg. Here's an invitation. Right on, man. And updates. A lot of good stuff happening with the skateboarding out here in Martinsburg. It's fascinating. I tell you this, my friends. One of our buddies, the skateboarder, went to New York and was concerned about, the hate online they get. And instead, everybody was excited to meet him and want to take pictures with him. And I'm like, the left is not as powerful as people think, but they organize online so well, they've got people terrified. That's how they end up dictating this cultural stuff. You've got to stop. So you've got these people screaming, lying, Tim Pool's stealing the skate park or all this other nonsense, shutting it down. None of it ever happened. Here's what's really fascinating. The left has this narrative that I tried buying my way into the scene, that I stole the skate park from them because they wouldn't let me play with them. Here's the reality. We own property in Martinsburg and have for years. We are looking to purchase more in the Martinsburg area. Why? It's the fastest growing city in West Virginia, or at least that's what I've been told. And it's a big deal. Great investment opportunity. It's where we're putting our coffee shop. And I also skateboard. They do skate jams. And so our employees live in Martinsburg, several of them. And I said, let's start doing some skateboarding stuff with the people who skate and live in Martinsburg, like our employees. And a couple of guys who don't live there went online and lied. And the left picked it up and lied. And they're angry that we live here. So I don't live in Martinsburg. We own property in Martinsburg, but I'm about 10 minutes away from Martinsburg. And it's the city. It's like the city. If we're going to go to the city, we're going there. We're a little bit further away from Charlestown. And so it's the county that we're in. It's the big city of the county that we're in. It's the investment opportunity. Mamba Collectibles is the card shop next to our coffee shop. And we're big fans. And they're fans and we're friends. And I play Magic the Gathering there a couple times. Or I think maybe, I think we might. No, I think we just played one time. but we've hung out there a couple times. And these people who don't live there are going to the media and claiming all of this insane psychobabble lies. I've been talking with the county about helping fund a skate park. I bought the property where the skate park was. The old owner wanted to sell it to, potentially was going to go to the transit company or get sold. They tried selling it a couple of years ago. They make all these lies up. None of it's true. I go out and skateboarding and the locals are giving me fist bumps. I went to Charlestown races to hang out with David Lucas. A couple of the local skaters there gave me fist bumps, said, thank you for what you're doing to help expand the skateboarding. But the media jump on the lies. They make it up. Because here's the question. I offered $20,000 in prizes for a local skate jam. And a couple people attacked me for it. So I said, we won't do it. The question is, who turns down $20,000 for free? Nobody does. All the locals are excited, said thank you, hit me up, and we've been building and repairing, and everything's been fantastic. But the media just runs the lies instead. It's not real life. In real life, I was skating at Hagerstown the other day. Not a single issue at all. Just skating around. And the funny thing is about that Martinsburg skate spot is that nobody skates there. Like it mostly died out because about 30 minutes drive east, Hagerstown, Maryland, built this really nice skate park with Spawn Ranch, one of the premier skate park construction companies. They actually do our ramps as well. They're good dudes. Damon, shout out. And so why skate the cruddy little backwoods, DIY when you've got this, professional park done? So when we announced that we were going to be getting involved in building in our area, because we're literally doing it, and they freaked out on us, a lot of locals got pissed off. Because they're like, hey, if we can't drive to go skate there, what do we get? And the other issue is those guys don't even skate here anymore. They started going to Hagerstown as soon as they got that park. It's all just such weird, creepy scumbaggery. There's no excuse for why they would turn down a bunch of money for a public park. Makes no sense. Politically motivated. All right. Let's grab one more and then we'll read this last story. Peyton Johnson said, you hear about the Chris Cole allegations. Skateboarding can't catch a break right now. Chris Cole is one of the most famous and most prominent skateboarders right now. He's being accused by his ex or something. I don't care. Literally don't care. I'm not getting involved. That stuff is for the courts to figure out. We are so far past the Me Too and like abuse allegation level stuff. I don't believe or trust any of it, and it's none of my business. If he did bad things, then he should be criminally charged for the bad things he did. If not, don't know, don't care. But apparently he's getting dropped from all of his companies because of like abuse allegations. Whatever, dude. Chris Cole is a great skateboarder. As for his personal life, no idea. If he did bad things, he's a bad dude. Hey, I can tell you this. Chris Evans. Oh, man. Look, I think, who was it? Quartering said that Deadpool and Wolverine was okay. 7 out of 10, maybe. I give it a 10 out of 10. Because it's anti-woke, only the teeniest bit. It's not woke at all. They insult woke people once or twice, and it mocks the MCU for being garbage. And I was like, I think they understand now. Ryan Reynolds, you are fantastic. Hugh Jackman did an amazing job, but Ryan Reynolds is absolutely fantastic. And Chris Evans in it was so good. That being said, Chris Evans is a crackpot. I don't like his politics. I think he's kind of a bad dude. But he does really well in these movies. He's a great actor. I like his work. Wasn't he in, was it called Push? Is that what the movie is called? Yeah, Chris Evans. I like that movie. He's got psychic powers or whatever. I think Chris Evans does a great job as an actor, and I think he does a bad job in politics. That being said, I do a really bad job acting and don't do it. And so could you imagine? This is the thing, look. I have no problem with people being passionate about their issues, but you have to be deferential. If I decided to go act, or like my music, for instance, far be it from me to tell anybody about music. I'm not going to go to Phil Labonte and be like, Phil, you got to understand something about music. Let me tell you. Like golden platinum recording artist currently on tour with Megadeth, Phil Labonte, is going to be like, Tim, I've been in this industry way longer. I've worked with these deals way more than you. Why would I ever assert? No, I ask Phil for advice. That's the thing about Chris Evans and a lot of these other people, Mark Ruffalo. You can be in politics 100%, but you got to be a bit more deferential. Like it'd be the craziest thing if I went online and started telling all of these top recording artists, how wrong they were about how the industry worked and all this stuff. No, I usually just, I ask them like, hey, how do you handle these things? Like, how does this work? Here's my opinion on what I experienced. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. That's what we're getting with these politicos who are actually just entertainers. They know nothing about politics and they just step up and say, no, I'm right, you're wrong. And I'm like, dude, you don't want to go there. But by all means, Chris Evans, big fan of his acting in all of his movies, not just the Marvel stuff. I would love to sit down and have a conversation about politics, and he can tell me about acting, I guess. I don't know. Let's jump to the story, my friends. It was a tremendous insult. Organizers apologize after church groups criticize alleged Last Supper parody during opening ceremony. Alleged? Come on. Sarah Fields has the tweet. Barbara Butch, the woman in the center, posted this photo to her Instagram, admitting the photo had everything to do with them mocking the scriptures. She then deleted it a few hours later and called it the Feast of the Gods. Nope, caught. At the Olympics, they mocked Christianity. They had a pale horse on the River Seine. That was crazy to me. I saw this and I was like, oh, wow, that is the Last Supper. And then they had a pale horse. Okay. So she even has the halo. She says, oh, yes, the New Gay Testament. Deleted it and then posted, will forever be proud and support this moment of art reference, The Feast of the Gods by Jan Harmons Van Bilger. Oh, please. I received a lot of messages about my faith, but I have questions about yours. No, they were mocking. What is this one? Oh, it's the AI stuff. They were mocking Christianity. CNN Sports says, organizers of the Paris Olympics have apologized for what some critics described as parody of the Last Supper. Yeah, like the person in it. The scene featured drag artists and dancers and was widely criticized by the Catholic Church and Christian groups. Pause. I don't care that Christians are offended by this. I can respect that they're offended, but I don't care that they're offended. Like, I can say, I get it. I am offended because these same leftists, Cenk Uygur, here we go. They will tell you hate speech should be banned. Don't be offensive. Put trigger warnings on everything. But then when it comes to Christianity, they will intentionally insult you and tell you they're allowed to do it. No. I want equality under the law. I want the rules to be known, but they don't play by rules. To them, there is no truth but power. We'll come back to Cenk Uygur here. We'll read more from CNN. The French Catholic Church at the festivities included scenes of derision and mockery of Christianity. There was clearly never an intention to show disrespect to any religious group, Paris 2024 spokesperson Anne Descamps told the news conference. On the contrary, I think we tried to celebrate community tolerance. We believe this ambition was achieved. If people have taken any offense, we're of course really sorry. While the scene has come under criticism, the opening ceremony was also widely praised, of course, with some pointing out that the scene was more reminiscent of the other works like The Feast of the Gods by Johann Rottenheimer or Jan Bruegel. Completely disagree. So when you take a look at the image here, the way they're all standing around, you see this man right here with his arm out? They actually reenacted those intentionally. They were trying to look like the Last Supper. Dionysus arrives at the table because he is the Greek god of celebration, and that sequence is called festivity. The god of wine, which is also a French jewel and father of Sequana, the goddess linked to the River Seine. The idea was to create a big pagan party in link with the god of Mount Olympus, and you will never find in me or my work any desire of mocking anyone. Except there was a pale horse running on the river. What was that? For those that don't know, there are 4 horses of the apocalypse. The pale horse, of course, is the horse of death. And it's the pale green, yellow green, or green horse. There is a white horse, a black horse, a red horse, and a pale horse. Pale or green. The reason is because the words can be translated in either direction. In a post on X, the official Olympics account said the interpretation of the Greek god Dionysus makes us aware of the absurdity of violence between human beings. All right, Cenk. What say you, good sir? He says, if you're still offended by people in drag, please grow up. Here was my response. Cenk, would you join me in hosting a drag show live event where we have drag Muhammad and Jesus together to prove your point? I didn't think so. Of course not. because that would be very, very offensive and dangerously offensive. I would like to stress this point. I in no way intend to do this, nor do I intend to insult Christians or Muslims. My point was the hypocrisy of these individuals. And I actually, I take issue with this idea many people have where when Christians are mocked, it's always like, yeah, would you mock Muslims that way? I feel bad dragging Muslims into this, but it proves the point. So to my Muslim friends, this is not meant to be in any way derisive of you. You did nothing wrong. Now, there are certainly things with fundamentalist Islam I take issue with, but what I mean to say is, I feel like there's going to be like Majid Nawaz or some other Muslim guy I know being like, hey, don't look at me. We had nothing to do with them mocking Jesus. And that's my point. It wasn't Muslims who went up there and insulted Jesus. It was leftist, communist, Marxist drag queens insulting Jesus. So there's no intention on my part of mocking Muhammad. My point is to make, they do not actually believe what they are saying. Cenk Uygur, if you're offended by people in drag, oh yeah, you wouldn't dare offend any other religion. It's just Christianity you think is fair game. Blair says, no one is offended by drag itself, Cenk. They're offended when they twerk on kids and mock people's religion. That isn't hard to understand. Passively Affable says, they were being intentionally offensive to Christians. That was their entire point, to be offensive. He said, you sound like fundamentalist Muslims. Sorry, but you do. You don't get to tell people when they're allowed to be offensive and when they're not, and then get angry when they are offended by what you do. But of course, I suppose hypocrisy is the name of the game for many of these people. That's reality, right? The left has been doing it for a while. Antifa goes and firebombs buildings, and they says it's not violence because they're not people. It's just a fence or, a window. Yeah, violence includes things like smashing windows and destroying things is violence. They will go around and engage in violence and then claim that your speech is violence. They cut themselves out in every possible way. But I will do this. While we're here, my friends, and you get the point, they're literally mocking the Last Supper. I do think there was some intention with Dionysus showing up of bringing in Greek mythology or religion or whatever. But I want to point out, I think it's more of Dionysus asserting himself over Christianity. Dionysus is the god of reveling and parties and stuff like this. They're basically saying out with Jesus, in with Dionysus. That is what they're hoping to accomplish. That is their worldview. CNN, of course, has alleged Last Supper because they don't know how to Google search. Let's do this. Washington Post and CNN contributor post AI photo of Kamala Harris event. What is this? What is that? This says outdoor recreation, but it's really weird looking. Catherine Crample. Okay. Crample on X. I'm going to pull up her posts. I want to dive into CNN's credibility here. Syndicated op-ed columnist for the Washington Post, commenter CNN, correspondent for NewsHour, previously with the New York Times. And she says, y'all are cuckoo. Here we go. Look at this. Let me show you the original photos. Scenes from the Harris fundraiser in Pittsfield, MA. This is a photo that she posted. And people noticed right away that when you zoom in, looks like I can't actually zoom in this one. You know what I have to do? Is that going to work? Here we go. When you zoom in, yeah, that's not a photograph. The hand is bent. What is this? It's very weird. It's like it's got some kind of mosaic filter on it. Their faces are melted. What is it? It looks like a painting. Well, here's what she said. Let me, we'll zoom back out. What is going on with this X? 150. All right. She says, here's the scene. She posts other pictures. Now, here's what I find interesting and very strange about this. You can see many of the same people in both photos that she posted, and they both look like AI. I don't know. She says, some homemade coconut tree signs. What is this? Look at this. Oh, how do I zoom in? What is this? This is crazy, right? Reality is breaking down, I guess. All right. Here's how she responded. She said, LOL, getting spam claiming these photos are AI. Not sure why I'd use AI to create a crowd of people in downtown Pittsfield, but these were taken on my iPhone. Sadly, unlike on TV cop shows, you can't just shout enhance and make blurry background in a compressed JPEG clear. No. Let me open this image that she also posted, and I think we're going to see similar artifacting. And I think, like, it does look weird. It doesn't look as weird. But here's what's fascinating. Other people posted photos, and maybe we'll see them. She says, y'all are cuckoo. Given the weird stuff I'm still getting, in any case, here's footage from local TV stations at the same event. Enjoy. People are posting these images. You can pull up any iPhone image and zoom in, and this stuff doesn't happen. I have a theory that maybe modern phones have begun to auto AI generate images. Really. You take a picture, and then the AI generates something. Because I don't know, I got to tell you, this does not make sense. Nothing, like, it's very strange. I don't know how she got the results she got, unless she generated AI video. So that's on CNN, or it's not necessarily CNN. I guess she's just a contributor to CNN, Washington Post, New York Times. No idea. But I'll wrap this segment up there, my friends. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Smash the like button. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Become a member at Timcast.com. Next segment will be tonight at 8 p.m. over at YouTube.com/TimcastIRL. Thank you all so much for hanging out. For the rest of you, we'll grab some super chats before we go, and we'll see you all next time. Here we go. We'll grab a couple more super chats here. Seems like there's only a little bit left, just a little bit. And do we have any? Actually, we don't have any. We only have a little bit. It's perfect. Tim Crespi says, Tim, anime and manga recommendation, Vinland Saga. So I was on Amazon the other day, and I saw that they have like the 70th anime where it's like, I was transported to a video game world and I have superpowers. And I'm just like, I am sick and tired of these shows. I like the show, the manga, The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, which is basically this. A guy gets murdered, and then his soul is transported to another reality that's much like an RPG video game, and he becomes a slime, like a little character, but he's like super powerful. But then you've got all these other like generic copied versions of it, and I'm just like, not interested. I don't want to watch any of this stuff. They're all just generic. All right. Mega Black Drancer says, Christians mock pagans all the time. Uh-huh. Yeah. But they're not leftists saying you're not allowed to do it. Nick C says, as someone who loves Greek myth in the Bible, did you know that Dionysus is often used to depict Satan or Lucifer due to his horns and cloved hooves? Interesting. Very interesting. All right. What do we have here? I think that's about it. I think we got through most of the super chats. There's probably a couple I didn't see, but you know. Devin Porter says that Zoom call felt like a bullet to the ear. Yep. All right, everybody, smash the like button. Subscribe to this channel. Become a member at Timcast.com to join our work because, well, I got to tell you, all of this is only possible because you guys are members. Ad revenue doesn't cut it. And especially after this election year, when ad revenue basically evaporates, we only will exist because of you as members. We do well here, but we want to expand the culture and do more. We want to make more shows and promote them. And so we have ambitious goals. If you like the work that we do, by all means, support us by being a member. But for the cost of maybe 2 or 3 cups of coffee per month, you could be supporting this show, and all of you together make that avalanche happen. So I really do appreciate it. And we got a lot of work to do. With this upcoming election, with the lies and the manipulations, it is going to be more important than ever that we have the Timcast News Morning Show and Timcast IRL to break through the noise and do the best that we can to show you truth in context. While my predictions and opinions may be wrong, and, just like everybody else, I'm entitled to them, we will always try to make sure that the underlying news stories are factually correct to the best of our abilities. So I really do appreciate all of your support. Smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show, and we're back tonight at 8 p.m. at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. We'll see you all then.